allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll now accept public comments on agenda items.
Barbara Brzezowski, Still Road.
Can I ask which item, agenda item?
Zoning.
Craig Brzezowski, Still Road. I'm here if Mr. Morrison has any concerns.
I have stood before you in 2 previous meetings and shared some issues that we are having as a town in the financial and bookkeeping area, and yet no one has followed up to assure us things are being corrected. In regards to zoning, I requested a report on May 23rd and again on July 19th. It has been 62 working days since my first request, which was a list of all the monies received for the planning and zoning boards and which bank account they deposited into. Mr. Courtine, the town bookkeeper, responded yesterday through the town clerk who said, quote, Mr. Courtine—
Can I interrupt you? Any of this has nothing to do with what's on the agenda tonight.
It's zoning. This has to do with zoning.
A zoning report?
Yes.
I don't feel it has anything to do with the report of the zoning or planning boards.
Will I be able to finish just a short half a page more?
Better finish.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Courtine will be in touch regarding when this is available, close quote. Under the Freedom of Information law, he should have given us the information or an exact date it will be available within 21 days, and after 62 business days, not calendar days, Mr. Courtine is unable to tell us where the monies have been deposited. At the last meeting, July 20th, I reiterated these questions from the previous meeting and have not gotten an answer. So this is the 3rd time I am asking. 1, what happened to the $41,000 owed to the town from the East Mountain project? It disappeared from all reports, and Mr. Courtine has never answered me. 2, can he confirm that the town is not owed any money since you changed the escrow process in 2016 and 2017? We did find out at the last meeting that escrow monies are being commingled into the general fund, even though we had an escrow account at the Bank of Millbrook for years. Someone decided to close it down. So my fear is that Mr. Courtine is not tracking the monies properly. How can you, Supervisor Tompkins, be sure that this is being done correctly? He has delayed and delayed because the information is clearly not readily available. The taxpayers need a full and proper accounting, and you have an obligation to make sure he's doing his job. You should be aware that every piece of information the bookkeeper is supposed to send me as a FOIL request has either been late or not given at all. He has many excuses, but they are not valid. He is not doing his job, and you are responsible for making sure he does. This is not appropriate, and I'm asking you to please step in and get us answers. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments regarding agenda items only, please? Okay. Okay, over the past couple weeks, I've met with Robert from NYMER. We went over the liability policy for our town, completed the paperwork for the winter recovery monies that we will be receiving hopefully by the end of the year for the highway department. I worked on a purchasing procedure policy to be addressed tonight. There are applications available for Rebuilding Together. Applications are available for families who may be interested in home repairs help. I do have copies of these applications. They'll be in the town clerk's office if anyone needs the help. I was contacted by Central Hudson, who filed for a rate increase in our area. Impact will be approximately 14 cents and 18 cents per day per household for electric and natural gas respectively. Anyone who would like to view the county-wide shared service plan are welcome to visit my office to take a look. We did receive the final notice on the SAM grant. We did get $50,000 to repave our parking lot here at Town Hall. There are some final pieces of documents to be completed, but at this time I handed it over to the town attorney and he will be taking care of that, and that should be done shortly. The Division of Local Government and School Accountability of the Office of State Comptroller will be conducting an audit and investigation focusing on internal controls beginning in September. That's it.
Good.
John, do you
Okay.
have anything?
Yeah, two things. I attended one of the biggest events that's not in the park in the town every year is the Tri-Hoofathon over at Crosswind Farms this past Sunday. Very nice event. They raised a lot of money for charity, including money for our rescue squad and for Sparrow's Nest, which helps families of cancer victims. So it was a very worthwhile event. It worked out well. A lot of activity on our roads, running and biking, and a lot of horse activity on the farm there, but it was a very worthwhile event. Secondly, I had a conversation recently with a resident and his concerns about billing for the planning board for consultants. And he gave me some notes here that I would like to read real quickly. It's called Limitations on Consultants' Billings. And it says, Unionville Code 128-1 requires that planning board consultants' bills to applicants cover advice that is necessary to make a fair and reasonable informed decision. The Court of Appeals requires that the fees be reasonably necessary to the accomplishment of the regulatory program. The following requirements therefore govern a consultant's billings in New York State. Specialized knowledge. A consultant's fee is not reasonable unless the review requires expertise that the planning board lacks. Regulatory program compliance charge consultants' bills to an applicant if the review is necessary for the board to comply with a local, state, or federal regulatory program. 3, notice and opportunity to object. Applicants must get reasonable notice and reasonable opportunity to review and challenge consultants' bills before the town approves them. The bills must describe the work performed, the time spent, the billing rate in sufficient detail, determine if the charges are valid, the sum billed is consistent with the amount of work, and 3, the billing rate is no higher than that at which the town is billed. These are valid points, and I think it's important that we keep this in mind, and I'm going to pass this on to the planning board.
I did speak to that resident today and reiterated to him that if I have to myself, I will get him copies, and the rest of the people who have escrow accounts, I will do it myself, being they are not getting them through the planning board or zoning board or what have you. I will make sure that they get the copies of their bills. I thought they were getting them. Today I was informed that they haven't received any, so I did give one copy to the resident that came in.
All right, thanks.
And discussed it with me. Trina?
So I had a couple of things come up. We haven't met in a while. So I know that with everything with change comes needing to tweak and glitches, especially when it's technology. So I know our time punch system, we call it, has had some glitches. And so in looking at that, where I work has a similar system, different name, similar system. And so I thought we could all take a look at sort of an idea, you can pass them down, an idea of how to make things right. So I know that sometimes the punches just don't go through. Sometimes the power's out. I mean, like, crazy things can happen, right? Especially because sometimes our highway guys or our park guys are actually going to be there because we're in a storm. So just something to look at for future. I think overall, we knew in putting together the employee manual that there still may need to be some changes, either additions or slight wording changes to what we're doing. So I think going forward, the next few meetings, we're going to need to be talking about that as employees are giving us some different feedback. And then Jake and I were actually able to get together yesterday and sort of talk about that 5-year capital plan in buildings and groundskeeping. So I think he had some great ideas. He's definitely an expert in what he does. So I think that's definitely something we need to put into our budget planning. We sort of have ideas. Obviously, the dam is that big elephant in the room that we are constantly talking about. That obviously will probably be prioritized, and then the long burn will need a roof. Just some different things that we were talking about that we could kind of finagle and work into the next 5 years. So, thanks.
That's good, and I hope that the liaisons to all the other departments will step up and do the same. Dave?
Yeah, this last few weeks, Andrea and I have been working with Europa. She called me this morning to tell me that 2 out of the 4 required steps for becoming a clean energy community have been fulfilled, which is the benchmarking and the unified solar permit. The 3rd is in progress now, which is the training with the code enforcement officer, building inspector. If we get all 4, we'll be eligible for up to $250,000 in grants, to produce better energy saving facilities in the town. I plan on going up to look at the solar array that they have set up in the town of Millerton. I just happened to notice it while I was at a parade up there, and I want to see what they're using it for and how much it costs them, whether or not it's saving them any finances. There's also one that I'm going to look at across the river in Ulster Park that was set up by a gentleman who has been helping us with our own solar things here. Along those lines, Europa with the Hudson Valley, Mid-Hudson Regional, Emily Kaysen from NYSERDA, and Derek Meter from PV Trainers, Solar PV Trainers, New York Trainers, have been working with us trying to figure out a suitable purpose for the landfill. Then another thing came up while I was doing the benchmarking, and I've only been working on the electric bills. And I've been working on the electric bills from 2014 up to the present. And it was one of the present ones that really made me decide. I have spoken about this in the past. I forget whether it was our July bill. I imagine it was our July bill. For this town hall, we received a bill for 3 months. I called Central Hudson and asked them why it was a 3-month. They couldn't really give me an answer as to why it was a 3-month, but they said the other 2 months were canceled. And I'm not quite sure how that worked out, and I couldn't really see anything in any of the bills that we've had recently that said they were canceled or that they were, just why we got one for 3 months. I spoke of this in the past, Computel Consultants. They are out of Earlsville, New York. They are big sponsors in the Association of Towns. They will audit all our bills, go over everything to see whether or not we're owed anything from Central Hudson or Cablevision, and mistakes in our Cablevision bill. They receive nothing unless they recuperate, unless they recoup money for us. And then they receive 40% of that the first year. But other than that, there is no charge. I suggest that looking at that electric bill, I certainly suggest that this is something that we do. We sent me a contract I just received it today, so I didn't have an opportunity to send it out beforehand. But I would definitely go with this. It's not going to cost us anything. The worst that can happen is we get money back. That's the way I look at it. So I'll make a motion during the regular order of minutes that we sign this contract.
I think you need to give everybody a chance to go through it and research it.
Well, I mean,
we had an
that's-
LED contract we didn't think was gonna cost anything either, and
we
now
also
we're paying.
we also kept putting off the unified solar permit, and we had 2 days to get it in order to get the $2,500.
And we did
Which
it.
we did get. But, and that was, again, something that I asked for last year. We put off the benchmarking. We put off even going with the, we could have had all 4 items and we could be in for the $250,000 now. Instead, we're struggling here. The unified solar permit, if we had done it last year, instead of getting $2,500, we would have gotten $5,000. So I don't know how long you want to put this off. I know I'm not going to be at the first
Well, it's
meeting
not
in
that she wants to put it
September.
off, it's just that the procedure is put it on the agenda, give us the information so we can review it, and then we'll make an intelligent decision
Okay.
after we review it. You got a chance to see it, we didn't.
Right.
Well, I know
mean, it sounds good.
Steve was at the Association of Towns meetings too, and they've been at the Association of Towns ever since I've been here. And they are one of the key sponsors of the Association of Towns.
I don't doubt it, I'm just saying, any contract we should really review before
Yeah.
we approve
Enter
signing it,
into.
and
Well.
have you read it yet?
Yeah, it's right here.
No, I said, have you read it? Have you read the contract?
Yes.
Okay,
If
well,
you
I
can
have.
get us all a copy and have our lawyer review it too,
And then the
'cause
next
we would-
meeting is only early September.
Well, I won't be at
It's 2
that meeting.
weeks.
I'll be in Texas. I'm going
We'll
to a
still vote.
military reunion
Okay.
and I'm not gonna miss it.
All right, well,
There are only 15 of us left.
all right,
but you wouldn't have to be there to pass that. You would have to inform us so that we are informed and can make a decision. There would still be 4 of us to vote.
Well, I'm looking at it that we're doing something that's not gonna cost anything and we're gonna get money back. But it's up to you.
well, I just want to have confidence that that's what's going to happen.
And if it's that great, then in 2 weeks we'll make that decision, or we'll find out otherwise.
Okay?
All right?
Steve?
Yeah, I did some follow-up on some open-ended issues here. Early this year, supervisor and the town bookkeeper, Ryan Cortine, gave us what they said was evidence of wrongdoing by the former supervisor and former bookkeeper here. At that time, I suggested that we go to the former supervisor and bookkeeper and ask for an explanation, but the decision was to submit everything to the district attorney's office instead. District attorney's office declined to review or investigate, and I guess it was turned over to New York State Police, where in March, I was requested to come up to the barracks in Millbrook and be interviewed regarding this claim here. The information that we had discussed was supposed to have been kept confidential, but I had received a phone call from one of the residents that had overheard this topic being discussed here at Town Hall and was questioning me on it, and that disturbed me quite a bit. I made a phone call to the state police last week, spoke with the investigator that was handling the case. Investigation has been closed. There was no evidence of wrongdoing, and I'm hoping that any rumors that are floating around town about our former supervisor, Lisette Hetzman, and former bookkeeper Liette Rancourt can be put to rest. They served here many years in Unionville, and they deserve to be remembered honorably for their service. Second thing was the discussion about the blacktopping at the last meeting. The supervisor had mentioned the price of fuel oil, which confused me, being so many dollars per ton, when fuel oil is actually measured in gallons. What you were actually quoting was the cost of liquid asphalt, an ingredient in blacktop. And you had mentioned how the price has gone up since January. Well, from during the winter months, there's no demand for asphalt. And because, due to the laws of supply and demand, the price is artificially low. In fact, you couldn't buy asphalt in the wintertime if you wanted to. It's only in a liquid state when it's heated, and they do not heat it through the winter months. The blacktop plants open mid-April here in Dutchess County, which is when we saw a significant increase in the cost of the asphalt. And that occurs every single blacktopping season. It fluctuated a couple dollars per month since then. And as I predicted last month, this month is down in cost from the cost that you had quoted last month. As an ingredient in the blacktop, the percentage by weight of liquid asphalt is extremely low. Any fluctuation that we're noticing here in the cost of liquid asphalt amounts to pennies per ton in finished product. So it literally has virtually no cost difference in the cost of it throughout the season of that. And I just wanted to clarify that for our residents.
Are you finished?
I am.
Okay, in regards to the investigation, there is an ongoing investigation through the State Comptroller's Office at this point, so I think it was a little soon for you to bring that out to the public.
Well, it's already in the public because it's come to me several times.
And these people were told exactly what an investigation was regarding?
Excuse me? They questioned me on what they had heard discussed here at Town Hall, which
And they
was
heard about these people,
being investigated, yes, and what they were being investigated for.
okay. So now, as far as the blacktop is concerned, I do have a quote that I got on this parking lot, and prices are due to change due to escalation. When I looked into it, the escalation goes up throughout the summer. I do not want to blacktop in the wintertime. God knows.
You can't.
You can't. You're not going to keep the blacktop cold or warm when it's cold out. The weather isn't good, and they don't make hot mix in the wintertime. So therefore, most people try and get it in the beginning of the season where it's lower. It's gone up all season. You're taking a chance waiting till November or December to do blacktopping, even October. So that was my concern.
Well, the information that you put forth to the residents was incorrect. I made that correction.
And as far as all the other stuff, I realized these are all political attacks. I will be no part of it. And my bookkeeper's doing a wonderful job. And the town clerk is doing all she can to keep up with all the foils and all the stuff that's being requested of her. And now we'll take department reports. Bookkeeper?
Thank you. Here's this. All right, for the month of July, the A fund revenues were $282,970.59. The A fund expenditures were $415,321.34. There was no D fund revenue. The D fund expenditures were $35,571.88. So all of you have this document that was in your mailbox. So you can see how each budget line is progressing as we make our way through the year. You can see what's left to be collected in revenues or what's left to be spent in expenditures, and then the year-to-date. As far as the FOIL requests that I know have come up, yeah, I'm working with Town Clerk Casey on these. I would suggest that maybe the two of us set up a meeting with the resident to really figure out what is being asked here, because just looking back in the emails that the town clerk copies me on, the request was made in May, and in terms of the escrow deposits, the request was fulfilled in June. That was forwarded to the resident June 22nd or 27th. I don't remember which date off the top of my head, but back in June. So again, if that's not what exactly is being looked for, then I suggest that we sit down and meet. Again, because sometimes it's I think people are requesting documents that don't need to exist and don't exist, and so again, it's not the job of public officials to make up documents that don't exist to fulfill a request. For instance, there was a request for documents that everything be broken down by department. Well, I don't break it down by department, I break it down by budget page, because that's how municipal budgets work. And by looking at the various pages, you can see how it's going in each department. So, so if you look at each line, you can look at the last page where it has all the defund expenditures to see all the highway. And again, you can look at everything that starts with A7, not everything, almost everything that starts with A7, to look at what's going on in Parks and Rec. So again, I'd be happy to explain that to whomever would like that explanation. But again, so a request was made for this to be broken down by departments. I don't just create those. There was a request by the highway department that could you create that for me? So I did, and I created it for him as the highway superintendent. But again, it's not created by department. It's here's the budget pages, and but so anyway, so I look forward to continuing to work with Town Clerk Casey on those requests. And then a number of things have, again, come up, which I'm sure you remember I spoke for about 45 minutes last time, which I'd like to avoid this time. Again, a number of those things that just came up tonight were addressed last month. You can go back to that meeting. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. One of the things was about that escrow deposit and expenditure showing how they're expended, and it's kept track of in an Excel document. In speaking with council after the last meeting, he suggested that the funds that are escrow funds shouldn't be commingled in the general fund. So going forward, those will be in a separate fund. But everything's kept track of in an Excel document, like most everything is kept track of in Excel documents here at Unionville Town Hall. So that's the end of my report.
Were those funds commingled prior to 2016?
Again, there's an account there called Mortgage and Securities. I didn't touch it. I believe that's where they kept the escrow monies prior. I don't want to touch it because of well, since it's been mentioned, I guess, just what was mentioned just a few minutes ago by a councilman and the supervisor regarding
Investigation.
the state comptroller's office. So I just, there's just certain things that when Supervisor Tompkins came into office and then, I was hired to be the bookkeeper, we weren't informed about as to how escrows, were done here in the town of Unionville. So, seeing that account and seeing the last escrow report in 2015 that didn't, really match up with that account. Again, I'm trying to segment out those responsibilities. So, That's all I can really say about that, so. Any further questions? Okay. Thank you.
Who's next? Dog control, I don't think we received one. All right, code enforcement officer, Karina?
Yeah, long one.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get every page. So this was submitted on August 14th by our code enforcement officer, George Kolb. Several complaints have been received by this office for the construction work being done at the Sky Acres Airport for anticipated work for the Cricket Valley transmission line installation. I have supplied a report on this issue. Please find attached for your review. We'll be talking about that Sky Acres project in our meeting tonight. Number 2, the town truck used by this office and the constables will need to have 4 new tires installed, and it appears there's some brake work done as well. I've secured an initial estimate from BWise for the sum of $908 for the new tires, as they are on state bid, and approximately $325 for new brake front rotors. This work should be done before the start of the winter season. Please inform on how to proceed for this work. Please note, I'll be out of the office the week of August 20th for a scheduled vacation, but I will be in contact via email for any questions or emergencies. Inspections performed, 81. Violation notice is issued, 3. Building permits issued, 25. Old permit COs issued, 25. Municipal searches, 7. Complaints received, 8. Violations abated, 3. Resident meetings, 16. Certified occupancy and compliance, 30. Complaints acted upon, 6. Appearance tickets issued, 0. Fire callouts, 1. Plan review hours, 16.
Karina, could you read the letter on the third page?
Sorry. Dear Supervisor Tompkins and Town of Unionville board members, regarding the Cricket Valley transmission line. Dear board members, as outlined in my monthly code enforcement report, the following information is supplied to the town board for clarification to your town residents. As some of you are aware, a new large-scale transmission line of electric power is planned to be installed over the next 2 years. This new transmission line will be installed through several townships, including the town of Unionville. The original power generation will come from the town of Dover and end in the town of Pleasant Valley at the large distribution center on Route 44. I have been working with our town engineer, Larry Paggi, over the past year to ensure that any and all approvals have been issued for this project. As early as last September 2016, I tried to contact the New York State Public Service Commission in Albany for exemptions to this work from town oversight, as explained by the Cricket Valley attorneys for the project. Only until recently have I received this documentation. It appears that Section 126 of Public Service Law exempts this type of action from local oversight and approval. That being said, both I and Mr. Paggi have reviewed the required documents for the required stormwater pollution prevention plan and have approved this acceptance form. All engineering generated fees have been collected for Engineer Paggi from Cricket Valley Energy to review the scope of this work. In short, this project has initially started and is planned to go through March of 2019 for the installation of 14.5 miles of transmission line to be supported on monopoles approximately 122 feet in height. The Sky Acres Airport will be used as a large staging area for storage of materials as well as transport of materials to and from the site. The main reason for this report is to inform the board of this work, as this office has received several complaint calls on what is occurring at the airport. I plan to circulate a letter to many of the surrounding residents to inform them of the construction work and what they can expect over the next 2 years while this work is commencing. Please find the enclosed construction work scheduled timeline. In addition, I have provided the Town of Unionville clerk with a lengthy copy of the approval process from the New York State Public Service Commission for all to review. I will be attending a project scoping session in Poughkeepsie this week and inform the town board with any new information for this project as it is relayed to my office. Please feel free to have any resident concerns addressed to my office, as I will try and answer and questions and or relay them to the proper agency.
Okay. Constables submitted a report. It's on file at the town clerk's office. Planning.
Okay, surprisingly, in July, there was no planning board revenue received. In July, though, the zoning board of appeals received an area variance application fee from BWise Car Wash in the amount of $250.
Parks.
Hello. It's been a pretty crazy month. The pool pump was down for a little bit of a long weekend back in July, towards the end of July. I really want to thank my guys, especially Dan Mahoney and Tom St. Ange. They stayed late on a Friday night with me to try and get things up and running. Unfortunately, we didn't get it up and going until Monday, mid-morning, early afternoon. But I would also like to thank Shrek Pumps in Poughkeepsie for getting everything turned around for us as fast as they did, and we got everything back up and running as
Well, I
fast
want
as...
to say thanks to you and you guys for being so aggressive to resolve that, because it's a critical thing, and it was nice that it was down relatively short time for the magnitude of the problem.
Thank you. Gutters are on the back of the building. It's been pretty crazy, so the gutters aren't on the front yet. As soon as things calm down, because camp ends tomorrow, so it'll be a bit more mellow. Again, I want to give a big shout out to my guys. The ball fields down here are finally back up to par, looking nice. And one of our local women's softball leagues was actually able to stop using Godfrey Park, which they've used all season, and came and played their final game out here on the big field earlier this week, which was nice. The grass and the weather haven't been great for us this year. It hasn't stopped, so it's been pretty crazy with that. Mrs. Kelly brought this up earlier. The dam project, I had sent out a memo a month and a half or so ago, something like that. I just wanted to bring that back up just to put it in everybody's minds again, that it's something we should definitely be thinking about, especially since the water level isn't down as bad as it was last year, but it's still pretty low, and I encourage everybody to come out, take a look, see what's going on with it, and go from there. There have been requests for tents and shade in the pool area. And in the past, we put up a couple of tents. Problem with tents is they get, worn out after a couple of years. So we came up with an option, and we're in the process of installing a shade sail, which is nice. It's something we'll be able to put up. It'll be up all season, and we'll take it back down in the fall, put it up in the spring. I know it's a little bit late this season, but there'll still be a couple of weeks for people to get a little bit of enjoyment out of it, which will be nice. Karina said that, we'd met about long-term planning, which is great. And then I just also want to say that the communication with the constables recently has been really nice. Quick little text just so I'm informed of things and George is informed of things, and it's been really nice. So, yeah, it's been good.
Thank you.
Recreation.
Thank you.
Yes, our last week of summer camp is tomorrow. Don't cheer so loud. We just got off a really great trip, our last trip of the season today. We were at Sandy Hook Beach in New Jersey. It was fantastic. We had, 160 or so kids on the beach, and it was awesome. Our staff is fantastic. We couldn't have had a better weather day, and tomorrow's not going to look so nice, so we'll take it when we can get it. So my question is to everyone, what the heck do you do with your kids when summer camp is done? And the answer is keep sending them here, because we keep doing things. And we have TGTT days, and we have summer camp, the sports camp and swim clinic. And that starts on Monday. Not as many kids, of course, but if you would like to register for that, anyone interested, please go on the website and you can do some online registration at unionvalerec.com. And those TGTT days will begin right after the sports and swim clinic. And we keep going up until after Labor Day on that Tuesday when the kids are still not in school. And then they begin on Wednesday, September 6th, and we roll right into our after-school programming. So we're very excited about that and that schedule starting. The pool season, like Jake mentioned, still has a little left in it, so we are going to anticipate those shade sales and make it a really nice gathering of people, especially that camp is done. There won't be as much traffic there at the pool, so please come out and keep supporting the park. You can get your daily passes right at the concession stand, and the pool season ends on Labor Day, so you can come and enjoy the pool on Labor Day. After that, we are finished. So make sure you keep coming out and supporting the pool. We've got the adult intertown volleyball match this Saturday at 10 a.m. We've got Dover, Beekman, ourselves all competing for the big trophy, and we've had the cup for the last year because the Unionville team won it, and we hope that that will happen again. So we're looking forward to that. Family camping weekend is Friday through Sunday, August 25th, 26th, and 27th. The itinerary for camping weekend is already up on the website so people can get a sneak peek of what to expect in case they have never done it before and feel comfortable joining us, and you can sign up for that on the website as well. The family field trip is happening on September 10th. Just go on the website, you can see all of the details, and it's $75 per person. It will include your ticket to the Mets game, a ride on the bus, a souvenir hat. So come, everybody at this meeting, come and join us. We'll have a great time. Oktoberfest is happening. We had a little Oktoberfest, what?
Meeting.
Cahoots?
Yeah.
Okay, meeting. That sounds boring. But we had a good time just getting everything out there. It will be September 24th from noon to 7, rain or shine. Smokehouse Deli is in again. We'll decide on a beer vendor tonight. And there will be German desserts. I'm so sorry about last year. There were no German desserts. But it will happen this year. We're on it. And we've got wine and hard cider this year, which I think will be a great seller and something really fun to spice it up a little bit. And of course, music and dancing. And then go to unionvillerec.com for all of your recreation needs. It's there. It's ready for you. Go and look at it. Our Facebook page, last thing I want to talk about is Unionville Parks and Recreation. We have already posted photos about our Sandy Hook trip today. Lots to look at, photos, announcements, and more. And tonight, there's going to be a very special #TBT, Throwback Thursday. If you don't know what that means, go on Unionville Facebook page tonight. And I have a little treat for, some people that may remember the park in the 60s and 70s, and I don't want to spoil anything, but please go on our Facebook page tonight and there will be a little surprise for you. That's all. Have a good night.
Okay. Media? You think you're going to compete with that?
Not even trying.
That's why he's walking slowly.
Yeah. Did our cartwheel help? Would that do it? So media, I'm parting out a new computer for the broadcast system. Other than that, everything's been working pretty smooth. That's really it.
That's all you got?
That's it for media. For media, that's it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Highway?
Okay. Report for July and August. Replaced the drainage pipe on Walsh Road. Cleaned 300 feet of ditch line on Walsh Road. Cleaned a ditch line and opened up a clogged pipe on Robinwood Lane. Repaired 3 basins and replaced 140 feet of pipe in Jennifer Hill. Removed the dead leaning tree on Tompkins Road. Installed 100 feet of 12-inch pipe and a catch basin at the cul-de-sac at Patrick Drive. Replaced 40 feet of 24-inch pipe up on Still Road. Cleaned 250 feet of drainage easement at Darren and Bloomer Road. Repaired 6 catch basins, 1 in Oakbrook, 1 in Brookside, 1 in Cunningham, 3 on Dolly Lane. Blacktopped over all the pipe repairs that we did and around the catch basins. Mowed some roadside grass and brush. Cleaned out a drainage swale on West Clove Mountain Road. Picked up a dead deer on Burbank Village Road. Assisted the state police on some low-hanging wires on Barmore Road. Replaced 3 batteries in truck 10, the 10-wheeler. Not the truck 10, the 10-wheeler. Saved $150 by shopping around. Replaced the fuel lines and truck run. I got 2 estimates on that. They were both over $1,700. The guy who works for me, Mike Miller, said he would give it a shot. He ended up replacing them, and we saved the town about $1,500. Weed whacked and mowed around the garage. Replaced 220 feet of culvert on Deer Pond and cleaned 200 feet of ditch line. Patched holes and repaired some curbing. Burnt the brush pile. South Parliament Road had a small erosion problem. We filled out with stone, topsoil, and seeded it. And I met with Larry Paggi and George Kolb at Teresa Court. We discussed retention pond and inspected the safety fence around the pond. We also inspected the catch basins and drainage swales in anticipation of accepting and maintaining the drainage at that location. That's it. All right. That's all I got, too. Thanks.
Town clerk?
Okay, this is the month for that I collected in July. Conservation licenses, $195. Certified copies, $250. The copy machine, $22. Marriage licenses, $120. Summer camps, $23,777.20. After school TGT, $1,844. Facility rentals, $82.50. The concession stand, $9,549. Swim passes, $7,204.75. The recycling center and compactor fees were $5,915. The refuse bin was $946.20. The neuter dogs and spayed dogs were $314.50 and an additional $93. After all fees were paid, a check for $50,059.11 was turned over to the supervisor. I also met with Katie Palmerhouse of Dover regarding the shared services and the system that they have. They have a very robust system. They have what we have in Laserfish times a million. They have a way to scan all the documents in, all the abstract vouchers and everything like that, and also make it available to the public as well as department heads through a grant that she had written, and also included some of the other neighboring towns as well. So she's looking to kind of expand that and include as many other towns as possible to make the cost, lower for everybody. So, I have further conversations and meetings lined up with her, and that's hoping, we're hoping that's something Unionville could take part of as well.
That's great, Andrea. All right, discussions. Why didn't you bring that up?
Oh.
Tell us about the phones, Ryan.
It's better be good.
Still not gonna be excited about that a little bit. All right, so all the phones are in. We are waiting until Thursday, Friday next week to do the cutover. Andrew's been doing training with everybody to get everyone up to speed on the new system. She's worked with these before, so she knows. The new switch has been put in that powers the phones here. The old switch is still powering something. I gotta get a drill to swap them out properly. New access points have been installed here. So if anyone who uses the Wi-Fi, it actually works now. And then there's a Friday we do the cutover. We should have both phones ringing simultaneously by Monday next week. That way they can still use. We're going to unplug the old phones, but if there's any issues during this time with the new system, we can plug the old phone right back in. It'll be functioning right just like it was. Any questions?
What do these phones do?
Everything.
Clean your house.
If you want to watch Doom on it, you can watch Doom on it. If you want to play Doom on it, you can play Doom on it.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like the first video game. Runs literally everything.
Can you please explain to everyone why we went this route?
So we went this route because the current phone system we're using is about a 20-year-old analog PBX system. It runs on standard copper cable, and the cable it runs over only does phone. So what we've done is we upgraded to a VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol system, that allows us to have one central switch for everything. We plug the phones into that, the phone sits on the person's desk, the computer plugs into that, and it's just one streamline, it's all there. We have settings in place to make sure that the call quality doesn't drop. The other thing of that is that the call quality on them is much higher than the analog system, which when the wind blows the right way or if there's enough water outside, you drop calls, don't get calls, and the system just dies. So the new system will prevent that, as well as allowing us to have every single building on the same system. So instead of one system here, one system at the park, we have one single system that communicates between the two.
Including highway, right?
Including highway.
Good.
So when a call comes into the main line, instead of saying, oh, sorry, hang up and dial the highway number,
This other number,
you can say, okay, hold on one moment. You can transfer the call over, transfer the call to the park, and that just makes the experience for people calling in much better. As well as the ability so that for English, the court clerk works from home. Instead of having her phone that she's using or a separate line that she has, we have a phone that we're going to put in her office at home that will basically be on the same system. So when a call comes in here, you forward it over, and it goes right to her. No weird number. No worry about that. And lower her bill too.
Excellent.
Anything else?
No.
Very good.
That's great.
Can we move on now? All right, the discussion for the purchasing policy document, everyone received that last week. I hope that everyone read it over. Are there any issues with it that anyone noticed?
Is this going to replace our procurement policy?
No. This is just a purchasing policy to let each department head or anyone who does purchases know that they have to go to our procurement policy. It's the same numbers that are in there. It just tells them step by step, the first thing you have to do is determine the purchase you want to make. Around about how much it's going to cost. By that, they can determine whether they have to go out for quotes, bids, RFPs. Once they do that, they, it tells them if this is it, they need to go to the town board or for approval. But it just explains in pretty much detail the steps to be taken to purchase items.
It looks like George did that when he was looking into the tires for the constable vehicle.
Yes, and Jake has been doing it when he purchases.
Yeah.
And it explains at the end that the department head has to sign the vouchers and all the slips have to be attached. Any batch tickets, any truck tickets, any receipts from a cash register have to be attached to the vouchers. And then the department
And
head
our
has to-
auditors will love us.
Yeah.
Yes, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
I think it makes our expectations clear too, because it talks about if a state contract, is available or is not available, and then if it is available but we're not taking it, that we're asking on their letterhead to explain it, since none of us are doing the research that the department head is doing, so I really like that.
so
I think
everyone's-
expectations are clear.
Okay. All right. The Ethics Committee advertising. We did advertise. We got a few people that were interested. There's not that many. We'd like to advertise for yet another week.
Good.
So hopefully by next Thursday or the following Thursday would be the Thursday before the meeting, we could have everybody and maybe do, have people come in early before the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll start the meeting early and do interviews and be able to set the ethics committee in place.
Sounds good.
So Andrea, you can put that back on the website, okay?
So when is our official extension date until?
It would be.
I'm confused, is it next Thursday or the Thursday after?
Yeah, the board meeting will be the 7th of September, so the Thursday before that,
The 30?
the 31st of August.
Okay, the end of the month. Can we put it on the TV also? Because not everybody's goes on computers.
Oh, yes.
All right?
Okay,
Right, Elfrida?
you know what? The
She comes here.
recycling report wasn't done, and I have it. So I'm gonna skip back to that.
Okay.
I just found it in here. So far this year, we have sold 452 resident permits and 361 non-resident permits for a total of 813. In 2016, there were a total of 854 permits sold. In the first 6 months of 2017, we collected 199 tons of household trash. During that same period, 2016, we collected 209 tons of trash. In the first 6 months of 2017, we collected 50 tons of single-stream recycling. This is the first year we've done that, so we have no comparison for that. All right, I'm sorry about that. So, next discussion is the ZBA vacancy. One of the gentlemen on the ZBA actually is moving, sold his home and is moving, so he resigned from the ZBA, so we do have a vacancy. There's another gentleman who is an alternate who would like that position, and Jane Smith did write a letter requesting that be done, and we find an alternate. So I'd like Andrea to put on the website also that there's a ZBA alternate opening if anyone is interested.
And on the TV, right.
And on the TV. Advertise, Andrea, you know.
Spread the word.
She knows how to do it. Okay, so
And I
now,
would just like to thank James Layton for his service to our town. I don't know how many years he did it, but I know he did it.
Quite a while, yes.
For some time, so I just want to thank him for his service to
And
the
I'm glad he was
town.
able to sell his house.
It's a good thing too.
okay, so now we'll start the resolutions.
Can we go back to this purchasing procedure for a minute? I'd like to see a line added to the top of this stating that it's an addendum to the procurement policy and does not replace it, and the procurement policy should take precedence over any questions.
Okay. You have that? Let me know when you're ready.
Or something to that effect, just so that we all agree and know that the procurement
Right,
policy
this
is
is
the final
just
word.
the way to do it, go to the procurement
Correct.
policy.
Yeah, I'd like to see that stated in the top of this somewhere.
Okay. John?
Yes, all right, resolution endorsing Sky Acres Airport for grant award. Do I have a number for this?
No, Andrea's going to number them after the
Afterwards?
meetings, because if
All
they
right.
get tabled or don't pass,
Okay,
she
it
would like to
doesn't
just
muddy the
continue
waters.
her
Okay,
numbers
I just wanted to be
this
sure I wasn't missing something. All right, whereas the following grant was issued by New York State under the 2015 Aviation Capital Grant Program to Sky Acres Airport, LaGrangeville, State of New York. State PIN 8910.99, installation of a self-service Jet A fueling station with a 10,000 gallon tank and site prep for tank concrete pad, design and construction. Whereas the town board of the town of Unionville hereby expresses endorsement of such projects for the purpose of New York State Department of Transportation funding only, and whereas the town of Unionville's endorsement of such funding does not / did not in any way waive any site plan approvals or other local permitting requirements. And whereas New York State requires a consenting resolution be provided by the town of Unionville in support of the state's granting of such funds. Now therefore be resolved by the town of Unionville, County of Dutchess, State of New York as follows. 1, the town board finds such project as type exempt action under SEQR and authorizes the chairperson to execute New York State DOT Form DV-21 attached. 2, the town board endorses the project to receive New York State DOT funding assistance. 3, the town board directs the clerk to send a certified copy of this resolution with the attachment form DV-21 to each of the following. A, Sky Acres Enterprises, 30 Airway Drive, LaGrangeville, New York. B, New York State Department of Transportation, Aviation Bureau, attention Denise Girardi, 50 Wolf Road, POD 54, Albany, New York. C, Tri-State Planning and Engineering, PC, 1 Wesley Court, Huntington, New York.
I'll second.
Okay?
Yeah, I'd like Tom to explain.
Now that the motion's been introduced and seconded, I think that an amendment needs to be added to the resolution because the correspondence sent to the town board, the resolution referenced the 2015 project that was approved, that is in this resolution. The new grant that Sky Acres obtained would be PIN number 8910.27.
Okay.
Not 99.
That was already approved. That was
Oh.
the resolution that they sent to the town.
Okay.
I think they made an error.
Okay.
Because I have the, from Tri-State, their engineer sent me.
Yes.
PIN number 8910.27, and the grant this time is exempt as well under SEQR because it's just to remove obstructions and conduct an obstruction survey for their runway. And just so it's a little bit ambiguous, the town's not endorsing the project, the town's not approving the project.
It's just that this has state funding. I believe 90% comes from the FAA, 5% comes from the New York State Department of Transportation. And one of the requirements is the town board be made aware of the grant. And by doing that, they don't want it just done by a nod or some kind of informal action.
Yeah, they want a resolution.
Resolution by the town board acknowledging
That we are aware.
that you're aware of it. So this specific grant is to remove obstructions and conduct an obstruction survey, and the PIN number is 8910.27. And the resolution that they had sent is the, with the package, I think they took from the 2015 resolution that was approved.
And forgot to change that number.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you're on top of it.
So this is based upon the May 26th letter from Tri-State?
Exactly.
Because that's all
Yeah,
you
so the
said.
state PIN number
Okay.
should be amended to 8910.27, and the description of the
And
project
description
should
is
be
different.
amended to remove obstructions, to conduct obstruction survey, and that's to their runway area.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept that amendment.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Roll call vote, Andrea?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Sorry, more notes. Resolution authorizing purchase of picnic tables. Whereas the Town of Unionville Parks and Recreation has requested the purchase of picnic tables, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes the purchase of 5 picnic tables from Jamestown Advanced Products at a cost of $272.26, sorry, the extra money sign, per table totaling $1,361.30.
I'll second that.
Okay, Jake did go out, he got quotes, and he sent a package out to everybody. Hope they reviewed them in the emails.
Yep.
And that's
He's
it.
got a question.
No, it's actually a state bid, so I mean, we're not gonna get that cheaper.
Jake
Right.
Yeah.
did his due diligence.
And you're gonna
Yep.
retire some of the old broken ones, at least 5?
Yes.
Good.
That's the plan. Now we have beautiful handicap ones, we can't.
Okay, it was seconded?
Yeah, I second it.
Yeah.
Andrea, roll call vote?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
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 Resolution authorizing maintenance schedule change. Whereas the Town of Unionville desires to change its maintenance schedule, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes the change to the Town of Unionville maintenance schedule effective Monday, August 21st, 2017, as hereto and made a part of this resolution. Tom St. Ange, Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. Jake Gosnell, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5:30. Tom Tierney, Tuesday through Friday, 7 to 5:30.
Second.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I wanted to thank Jake for coming up with a plan that works for us.
Yeah.
Resolution authorizing advertisement for zoning board of appeals member. Whereas currently a vacancy exists on the Town of Unionville Zoning Board of Appeals, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes and directs the town clerk to advertise for interested individuals to interview for a position on the Town of Unionville Zoning Board of Appeals in the official newspaper of the Town of Unionville, as well as the Town of Unionville website. Do we want to add television to that? Just
I would like to.
Website and TV,
TV channel.
media.
Local TV channel 22?
Mm-hmm. Getting good ratings lately.
Again, I didn't know if the board wanted to go through the expense in the newspaper, so
Yeah,
if you make a motion to amend it, you could try the,
Do we know if it's necessary to
I-
go through the newspaper?
If it's not necessary, I
It's
think.
not a requirement under local law.
Right.
No, yeah.
It's just I didn't know which route you wanted to go.
Yeah, I think we could
Maybe
amend
can save
it.
money.
We can
Nobody reads
amend
that.
it and put it on the TV channel and change
website.
the newspaper. TV channel and website.
Good idea.
So I make a motion, we make that amendment?
I'll second that.
I'll second that amendment, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, was the
Was the whole thing
whole thing
seconded?
seconded?
I don't think so. I'll second it. I don't
Okay.
think it was seconded.
I think you're right.
Town board discussion? No. Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Steve?
Okay, resolution authorizing payments of purchase order. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the payment of all general fund claims and highway fund vouchers as set forth in the abstract number 7 of 2017, which is available in the town clerk's office, and authorize the town supervisor to make all payments.
I'll second.
Go ahead. You do.
Let's pay those bills.
Town board discussion?
Pay the bills.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Okay. Resolution authorizing camp refunds. Whereas the Town of Unionville Parks and Recreation Department has recommended that the following refunds be authorized. Maria Honchek, $256. Jill Seelig, $1,125. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Unionville hereby authorizes the above listed camp refunds and authorizes that refund checks be issued.
Second.
Town board discussion?
Do we know why these are being?
Oh, Jessica
Yes,
had sent.
Jessica had
sent like a huge,
To everyone, a
I don't know,
huge-
10 pages, but
Oh,
includes
I
the
missed
beer
that one.
thing. And so it was in the middle of them,
Okay,
like, the reason.
okay.
It was very
Right,
specific.
and I do remember that there was a motion made, 2 years ago.
A while
That
ago.
said that, or probably a year and a half now, that said that the rec director had permission to give these refunds.
Yes.
Up to a certain
Right,
amount
yeah.
without town board approval.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that the 256 you could have just approved to do.
Yeah.
One was a big one, so I.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm just-
maybe because it was like a partial refund, because the parent was paying something, but it was
Yeah.
the difference that she was
Okay,
getting back.
thank you all.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Karina?
Resolution authorizing hiring of after-school and TGTT director. Whereas the Town of Unionville Recreation Director has conducted interviews for the position of after-school and TGTT director, and whereas the Town of Unionville Recreation Director has recommended that, I might botch this name, Sally Ann Fitch, to be hired to the position of Town of Unionville After-School and TGTT Director. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes the hiring of Sally Ann Fitch to the position of After-School and TGTT Director effective August 21st of 2017 at a pay rate as budgeted in the 2017 adopted budget.
I'll second it.
That came in that too.
Oh, that is so.
Town board discussion?
How do you really say the name?
Celine.
Okay.
Roll,
I'll get better.
roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Resolution approving senior bus trip expense. Whereas the senior citizens bus trip to Silver Birches Resort from the German Festival is scheduled for November 1st, 2017, and whereas quotes were obtained for bus service to transport the seniors on their trip, and whereas the Town of Unionville Recreation Director has recommended Adirondack Trailways at a cost of $1,100. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby approves the quote of Adirondack Trailways at a cost of $1,100 to provide bus service for the senior citizens bus trip to Silver Birches Resort on November 1st, 2017.
I will second that one.
Again, just looking at the backup documentation provided by the Recreation Director, I see that Adirondack Trailways, I believe, is 1110, so I just asked that you.
Oh, 1110.
1110,
Okay.
so we'll
Gotta give them that $10.
make a motion to
Missing that.
Amend it by 10?
amend it by $10.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good catch.
Okay, it was seconded. Yes,
Mhm,
John
yes.
seconded.
That was
Town board
driver's tip.
discussion? Roll call vote, thanks, Tom.
You want more?
Yes.
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
It's all you, Dave.
Resolution authorizing Oktoberfest beer distributor. Whereas the Town of Unionville Parks and Recreation has recommended that the town board authorize Craft New York as the distributor for beer at the 2017 Town of Unionville Oktoberfest. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes Craft New York to the beer distributor for 2017 Oktoberfest in the Town of Unionville at a cost of $3,900.
Second.
Tom, are there
Now I'm
any
checking the number.
changes?
It looks like 3,900 is right.
Recreation Director.
Right, and she did a good job going out to find prices and saved us quite a bit of money. Thanks, Jess.
Was it seconded yet?
Town, yeah,
Yes.
Steve seconded.
Okay.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 That's an easy one to all agree on.
Okay, resolution authorizing recreation fees. Whereas the Town of Unionville Parks and Recreation has requested fees be established for 2 new specialized fall programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes and sets the following park and recreation fees. Nature parties, $300, 2 hours, up to 10 participants. $400, 3 hours, up to 10 participants. $25 each child, additional child rather. Homeschool hub, $100 per resident. $130 for non-resident, $10 drop-in. Question, wait for a second.
I'll second.
Oh,
Okay, maybe we can have Jessica stand up here and explain a little bit about what the homeschool hub is.
Thanks for asking. We basically are going to go with a little membership, if you will, like that $100 or $130 cost to provide certain classes that meet the criteria for the homeschool curriculum. What we want to focus on is things like orienteering, outdoor ed, getting out and involved in nature programming. So that membership we're calling it the Homeschool Hub, will utilize our existing game room that doesn't get much use as a standing game room. So we're trying to convert it into a more ecosystem education center to just kind of be a nice little cohesive part of our Time War Forest. So homeschoolers are available during the day, and they've shown lots of interest in some of our programming and just being here in the park and in the forest. So we want to be able to tap into that resource as they can tap into ours, and hopefully just provide some programming before our after-schoolers get here and use that portion of the building, as well as use the families that are here already and have that time.
Thank you.
And yay for nature parties, too.
Sounds good, yeah.
People are sick of going to bed. I hope that answers.
Okay, we had a second. It wasn't a question, I just asked you to explain it to people. I knew. We had a second. Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Who read that one?
Steve read it, so we're back to John.
We're back to John.
Yeah. One quick question. On the agenda, you have purchasing policy, and on the resolution, you have purchasing procedure. Which is correct?
Purchasing procedure.
Okay, I just want to be consistent. Whereas the town of Unionville desires to adopt a purchasing procedure so that all town departments are aware of the proper and legal procedures to follow when purchasing an item in the town of Unionville. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Unionville hereby adopts the town of Unionville purchasing procedures policy as attached hereto and made part of hereto of this resolution. And I assume this includes the sentence Steve asked be added.
Right, I was just gonna put that in the form of a
Yeah.
motion that we ask the attorney to make that amendment to the procedure. Put that in the form of a motion.
He made a motion to,
And I believe the
Put that
town.
in. We did that before.
Councilman Frazier's making a motion that it be amended, the policy be amended to include the sentence
His
that
phrasing.
he wanted at the beginning, so I would put that to a vote of the town board, so it's formally adopted, and then the procedure could be amended as follows before it's attached to the resolution.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so I'll second his motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And I'll second the resolution too.
Oh, good.
Town board discussion?
I think we just.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Sorry. No.
No.
RFPs for the replacement, the parking lot.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I have the procedure in front of me.
All right. Resolution authorizing advertisement for sealed bids for parking lot replacement. Whereas the town of Unionville was awarded a state and municipal facilities program grant entitled SAM for the replacement of the parking lot and sidewalks at Town Hall. And whereas the town of Unionville is in need of bids for work to be done in connection with the project, now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes and directs the town clerk to advertise in the official newspaper of the town of Unionville for sealed bids on the town hall parking lot and sidewalk replacement project.
I'll second that.
So I just want to explain that the parking lot is one part of it, and the sidewalks are another part of it.
Two vendors.
It's two different vendors. We do not have to go out for a sealed bid for the sidewalk replacement, as that's only about $3,000 was the quote we got when we initially.
Are we
put this grant
replacing
in.
just what's existing, or are we adding to?
Regarding, I mean.
The sidewalk.
The sidewalks are being pulled out
Existing.
and redone.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer my question. Are we just replacing what's already existing, or are we adding? I think it'd be a good idea, while we're doing this, to add sidewalks in front of where the cars park, from each end to the center.
Okay, I don't know that, well, that's not part of the grant. We kind of I mean, yeah, we can add it ourselves and pay for it ourselves. I can get pricing on that.
I'd like to at least look at it, since we're doing this.
So when I get the quotes for what is
Right.
done for
Put it
this
as
grant, I will ask them for
an
option to do.
Right. Because right now, people got to either walk in the parking
Behind
lot
cars,
or
yeah.
in the grass.
Right.
So I think it would make sense to put,
So I think what we would have to do is put the sidewalks where the grass is right
Correct.
now, because the parking lot just
Right.
really
No,
isn't
I
wide
agree with
enough
that.
to back out.
They have to cut those trees back quite a bit.
Yeah, well, those trees could go.
That wouldn't be bad.
That wouldn't
for
be a bad
security.
idea, right, Jay?
That wouldn't be a bad idea for security.
To get rid of the trees
But I
anyway.
mean,
It may be.
the other thing, if you're talking about adding sidewalks, what about outside the emergency exits, like outside the court and outside the,
That was not part of the grant. We do have a step walkout here. It's not in that bad a shape. My main concern with this grant was trip hazards. Everyone can see
Yeah,
in the
especially in
front.
the front. Yeah.
It is a trip hazard. It's deteriorating, and we really
Yeah,
needed
I
to
mean-
redo that. I mean, at some point, yes, we can put that in the budget to get those done also and the sidewalks done. But at this point, the grant is for the 50,000 for exactly what I told them it was going to be for when I applied.
right?
So, but I will ask for, these people who
Yeah.
come to do a quote, I'll ask them to do quotes on that also while they're at it, so we know
Yeah, 'cause-
what kind of
I mean, like
clothing
when
we're
it
in with the money.
snows and you have to get out that door,
Mhm.
you know, you could run into a problem because there's no way of really shoveling it before, there's no walkway, there's just a step. Anyway, just a
Okay.
thought.
So the SAM grant to go out for RFPs, I explained that it would be for the parking lot part of it. We did get a second, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dave was my
Dave
second.
seconded.
Any other town board discussion?
Excuse me.
Roll call vote?
Councilman Welch?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Tompkins?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Creed?
Aye.
Okay. Now, we can take public comments on non-agenda items.
Oh, well. Lining up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephen Aviag, 84 Mountain Creek Road. I appreciate very much John Welsh's comments about the need to have control over the bills that consultants to the town issue on applicants for various things. As a matter of fact, very recently I talked with Jenny Stiles, and that came up in the agenda for that grant that she is trying to get for the airport. And she told me that she had received a request for a payment into escrow of $10,000. I said to her, what was that for? So she described what it was. It was things like, do you reside in Dutchess County? Do you reside in Union? But things that did not require any specific expert knowledge. So I suggested to her that this is something that she should challenge. And in any event, that also is consistent with my own experience. I went before the planning board for a lot line change. And then ultimately I foiled, and thank you very much for the extensive work it required, but I foiled the emails that went back and forth. The first request by one of the consultants that will remain unnamed was for $13,500. Now a lot line change requires to check that the two resulting lots conform to zoning, and it also requires to check that the setbacks conform to the area and bulk regulations. I thought that $13,500 was sort of high. So then I kept on reading the emails, and then I had made some noise about this, and the price then dropped to $6,500. For a price, it wasn't a price. It was really an amount to be put into escrow. And then ultimately, we had a meeting with the planning board, when was it, last night? And at that point, I had a chance to ask, what work will be performed for this? Not a word. That is all I have to say.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And that is all about, you need to really go to the planning chair and discuss this and see that it's taken care of.
But I think that
Yes.
the suggestion from John
Yep.
is very good, because that can easily be put into effect.
Right.
we are working on a procedure document for that, and right now, we were going to pass it, and I spoke to Kevin today. He was supposed to have a schedule fee, he was going to have it, and then today he called me and said that it's a document that really needs a public hearing and everything if we change it, because it is in the code book. There is a fee schedule in the code book, and what they want to do is change these fees. So we can't even move forward with anything until they do their job and get it back to us. Sorry.
That's
Go
all
ahead.
right. Tom Beiswinger, Milewood Road. I just, as a concerned citizen, I just wanted to reiterate what has been said by Councilman Welsh and this gentleman over here, that I feel that there should be more information given to the town board from the planning board when it comes to escrow, determining how that escrow amount is met, how much it should be, and, you know, how long they're holding it for. It seems to be that listening to the town board in previous meetings, that they just say the name of the project and the amount held in escrow. And it should be more detailed than that, I feel.
On the report.
On the report, right. So I just wanted to reiterate that. In addition, in regards to public hearings from the planning board, it seems that it would be a good idea to have those public hearings posted in advance on the website. I haven't seen them before, and there was a recent project that affected my family, and, you know, if it wasn't for a neighbor informing me about it, I wouldn't have known. And I do go on your website, and the town board's website has a lot of detailed information, and I really do appreciate that. But I think that's a viable thing to look at.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may add?
Just after her.
I'm Ginny Stiles from Sky Acres Airport. And since 1992, I think we have done probably 27 different resolutions with you people. Perhaps not always town board, but with planning board. $10,000 was mentioned to me that I'd have to put it in escrow. How much input does the town board have in when you hire somebody as a planner? Do you ask what they charge? Do you ask what their expertise is? We happen to be in an unusual situation as to who has the expertise in aviation. But in a lot of the projects, it's not the word aviation that's important, it's the land. And I think it's really important as a town board that it's something that you think about, because in the long run, if you have enormous costs like $10,000 or $13,000 to be put into an escrow account, it affects people as to whether they're going to buy anything in the town of Unionville or whether they're going to do any projects in the town of Unionville. So that's my only comment to you, is about that. And with the project going forward, yeah, we've always put money into escrow, but I've never been asked for $10,000 or $13,000. And some of the projects have been much more expensive than this project that we're talking about now. So that's it.
Thank you.
Irene tells me that I omitted to say that at the end of the discussion, Mike Ligore said, look, I think $750 will do. And then Kevin said, okay, look, LaGrange charges $1,500, so let's do it that way. There has to be something more rational than, well...
And you're absolutely right. This is not LaGrange.
I've actually asked around since I've heard this was going on. I've asked around to some of the other planning boards that at our neighboring towns, and our pricing is extremely high compared to other places.
Well, we are in the process of.
Right, and that's the
schedule.
consultants, that we
Yeah.
haven't set those prices, that's the consultants, and that is something that we're gonna look into.
And they can be replaced.
Right, they can be replaced, it's not all set in stone. This board will vote on the fee schedule after they give it to us and set it all up. You know, it won't be voted on immediately, we'll have to look into different things.
Let me just say to you that in this situation that has just transpired, the director.
If you could just come back.
It's very important. In this situation that has just happened with this resolution, I don't know why, I wasn't told why it came to the town board instead of the planning board, because all of the other ones always went to the planning board. Now, I do know that the director up in Albany was astounded that the planners for the town of Unionville were not familiar with what the state of New York really was asking for and requiring in this resolution. So one of the employees for the town planners was contacted by the director's office and tried to be enlightened, shall we say. So it led me to wonder, have they ever done a resolution before?
Well, I have a question now. I'm Eileen Aviak. I just want to know who will set the schedule for the consultant. I want the consultant to set the schedule, so the board has to set the schedule. And does the board do research with other towns? How are you going to set the schedule?
The fee schedule will be set by the planning board, not set. They are going to offer us a fee schedule. Then it will be our jobs to look into it and to decide whether this is appropriate or not.
I think in order for it to actually occur, it's gonna have to be a roundhouse discussion, you know, between the consultants and the town board and planning board to find a number that works for everybody.
And if you find that the consultant has antagonized many, as you can see, of the residents, do you then change your consultant, or do you?
If need be.
That's always an option for us.
The way the zoning is set up, or the code is set up for that, is the planning board should recommend to us the need for a change. Basically, the planning board is in charge of who they hire as consultants.
Oh, they are?
Yes, and the request for change should come from them. We are listening to you, and we are in discussion with the planning board members, and everybody agrees that there's an issue going on here, so we are, you know, looking at all our options.
The chairman of the planning board, a terrific guy, but he's brand new.
Right.
And he's feeling very harassed, and he really does, you know, when someone tells us this is what LaGrangeville charges, and the attorney, Mike, said this is the simplest, easiest things, I really don't need anything, but why don't you give $750? And then the head of the planning board says, well, LaGrangeville makes it $1,500, so give me $1,500.
Right.
That is something that I think you gentlemen should check into. It's not correct. It's just not correct.
It is something that we are planning to,
Yes.
to take care of.
I just want you to be
Yep.
aware of it. Thank you.
Ryan Corteen.
Real quick, two things. Ryan Corteen. I neglected to mention earlier that for the next month and a half, the supervisor, in her role as a budget officer, and I will be meeting with all the different departments to create the tentative budget, which will be submitted to the town clerk by November 30th. And then there is a meeting on October 5th, which is the date by which the town clerk needs to distribute that to the town board members. And just looking at the preliminary numbers, you know, the supervisor and I are expecting that to be yet another tax cut for next year's budget. And the second thing is, I want to congratulate the Unionville Fire Department. On Saturday, I was marching for the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company, which is my fire department in Dover, and I thought we did a great job, but it turns out Unionville, according to the judges, did a better job, and they took away like basically all the big trophies. So, congratulations.
Second time.
I think if you win it a third time, they retire the trophy, right?
Right, we won it twice in a row. If we get it once more, we keep it.
All right, well, we might try and stop you.
We don't have room for it.
All right, but again, congratulations.
Thank you.
There is one other thing I'd like to put out there. I'd like to have a department head meeting at some point in the near future, within the next 2 weeks. Maybe the department heads could contact me with their availability, and we could all get together and discuss some certain issues. Any other public comments?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Oh, he left. I don't know what to do.
What?
We can't adjourn. There is a bill that needs to be paid. This whole Junior's diesel deal where he quoted us $7,000, and then when they picked the truck up, it was $9,000 and something. And then Mr. Wisman spoke to him, it got it down to $8,000 and something. We did make a motion at one of the meetings to pay the quoted amount. I don't think that's fair to this gentleman, and I think that he should be paid as soon as possible. We've been waiting on the voucher to be signed by the highway superintendent. He signed it Wednesday, Thursday, something like that.
Yeah, I signed it, and someone else signed it tonight.
And you signed it tonight, but my thing is, I think that this man deserves his $8,000. $8,900. He did take off the labor fee.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves to get the parts that he put into it. Hopefully in the future, we watch the resolution, we watch what we pass and what we allow to go on. Clearly, it needed more work. It was rusty. The maintenance was not done on the truck, obviously, but we really should reconsider paying the $8,000 and not just the set
Original.
the original.
Quote.
Yes.
So I make a motion that we pay the $8,921, I think it was.
I believe that's the amount.
I suggested that quite a while ago on an email. I'll second that motion.
But we couldn't do it by email because we had already had that motion.
I understand that.
So you'll second it?
That's correct.
All in favor? Town board discussion.
I would just like to say that I really appreciate this man coming back with sort of a counter offer, because we were in a very tough position. We did pass it that night with the understanding that it was an emergency. Unfortunately, we later learned that it wasn't an emergency, and after the truck was repaired, it wasn't even being used. So we were kind of put in a tough position. We were trying to pass it, saying, okay, well, this is the amount we'll agree to pay. And unfortunately, it was on that original document that, this is an estimate, it could change. Nobody we tried to do it in a hurry, so it is on us that we did not read that wording. We shouldn't have passed it.
Well, even though the wording was there, he should have called Richie and gotten approval, authorization with Richie and us to increase the amount.
So going forward, whenever we need a truck to be repaired or something, that will need to be clear to whoever we take in for an estimate. Of course, we understand it may change, but we're a town. Municipalities don't just randomly pass out money. We pay bills by resolution. So it needs, and you saw even $10 makes something correct or not correct. So, but I appreciate that this man really, in trying to help us out and do the right thing, he is actually taking off labor charges. So, he's just eating the cost of paying his employees, but I certainly believe that we owe him the parts that he put in our truck. So that's just all.
Roll call vote, Andrea?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 One other thing, sorry. I'm just thinking of these things because when the truck came back, it got some sort of a chipper body put on it the next week, and obviously hasn't been used for chipping because the chipper's been sitting down at the park since before the truck. So I'm asking Jake, if you are through with that chipper, please get it out of there. It's a safety hazard with all those children down there.
You got any use for it before it goes?
Yeah, we can use it.
Might as well.
So should we try again?
We should try again.
Now can I make a motion? We adjourn?
Yes.
I make a motion, we adjourn?
And I'll second it again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dave.